to you with a midday update from the trades that we did today. Now, we had a pretty good mix of different things that we were looking to do. Mostly with the day trades, gang, I will do my best to send out day trade alerts, which I would say easily happens 85% of the time. Sometimes when the levels are a little uncertain, and I know that if a trader is trying to manage these remotely, in other words, you're not in the room with me watching the nuance, watching when I might tell folks to reel it in, or maybe we might want to be a little bit more aggressive, that kind of nuance, it's difficult, and I'll usually keep some days like today very much just in the room. Now, I don't want you guys to miss out on some of the other setups, and I certainly don't want you to miss out on the explainers. So here goes. So first of all, we had only long setups. The plan was today from pretty early on, and I'll leave this list because this is exactly what we typed out in the room. So what we had in the room was stay long. First of all, the first question I think we got was, well, Rog, if we had a limit up, don't we usually fade those? And in the notes that I've sent out to everybody already pre-market, you'll notice I put a little checklist for day trades. And the checklist here, right there, the checklist is grab candle color, V-score extremes. Are we above or below the VWAPs? Limit moves, what say you yen, initial balance breaches, VWAP retest with V-score confirmation. So those are the things that we've talked about for months now. And the setups are not going to be different now as they were before the volatility of the coronavirus and the downturn in the market. Same setups. Today we want to be long. Yen, mostly yen weakness, even though it wasn't pinned to the right side of the scale earlier this morning. You can see here it is now, but it was in third place. But it was weak. Again, relative to the other currencies on this list, it was weak. So certainly no reason to buy. And then we had some V-score support extremes. And those of you that were in the room and those of you that have watched me before have noticed that I might give the market 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to establish the V-score extremes after 9:30 or to retest some of those extremes that we saw since 7 a.m. Eastern. And today was no different. And by the time we saw the confirmations again and again, NQ at a 0 V-score buy and ES at a 0.55 became apparent that that was going to be the kind of trading that we were going to look at. So if you take a look at the ES, and let me open this up here, and the kind of behavior that we saw at 0.55, meaning just above the mean. We saw this happen. We saw this before. And then by the time we got to 10, you can see every time we got near that level, we wanted to get long. And then on the NQ, that level was closer to 0. Now, all the V-score levels are not going to be the same. The S&P might be 1. The NASDAQ can be 0. The Dow could be +2. You don't know. But you can see here how many times the NASDAQ bounced off that 0 level. So once I've got a level in play like that, we just look to keep buying off that level. Now, a question that I do get, and this is a very important question, is, Rog, if and when you send these V-score setups out, can you give us a price? And the truth of the matter is I cannot. But let me explain why. Now, take a look at each one of these right here, right here, right here, and then right there. Those are the 4 that we got this morning after the open, okay? The first 1 or 2, first one for sure you let slide. The second one you can do if you'd like, right? But by the time we get to here and here, yeah, I mean it's pretty clear where the support is coming in. But what I want you to notice is they were all at different price levels. So to say that this V-score reading of 0 is always going to equal X price is incorrect. That's not the way the V-score works because it's not using price primarily, it's using volume. So a lot of folks are asking, Rog, in this environment, do we kind of need the V-score? Gang, yeah, in this environment you do, because I cannot rely on the HPMRs that I give you guys for free. We can't rely on the Waikiki or the SBRH clearing range tool for toss and trade station that I give you guys for free. Right now that is not working because we're so far outside those historical price movement ranges that we are almost exclusively relying on different combinations of the yen, volume, prioritized studies, and then also looking at initial balance breaches. I mean, it's really looking at those three things throughout the day. And so, yeah, I mean, it's going to make a difference. Now, watch some videos. Make sure this is something that you get, that you like. It's a needle mover for you. I think a lot of folks are realizing it is a needle mover for them. This is a tool that I created many years ago by manually, literally calculator, pen, paper. Every single day, I would know the V-score of every single market that I traded. Now, luckily, being mostly a futures and Forex trader and looking at just a handful of stocks, my futures and my handful of stocks maybe amounted to 3 dozen symbols, something in there. So it wasn't a lot of work, but it still was pretty tedious to have to sit and do those calculations every single day. And it was virtually impossible to do this intraday. So again, so happy that Eric and I sat down. I showed him what I'd been doing for so long. And we said, yep, okay, we can automate that. So that's what that is, right? It's the automation of a tool looking at the standard deviation of volume weighted average price. All right. So it's a volume oriented tool. And therefore we cannot say ahead of time, well, this is the price level. Okay. It just doesn't work that way. We will know pretty much simultaneously, but we won't know. You can't project way out ahead of time that for example, see this high right here? That's a +2 V-score. You can't project way out ahead of time that, this is a +2 V-score, but guess what? This was also a +2 V-score, right? Let's see, this was a +2 V-score. See the difference in price? So that's what I'm saying, you can't project like that. So next up is, so those day trades worked great. They are V-score oriented, gang. Why the bullish bias? Well, we're waiting on that deal to be signed. And for those of you that are wondering, hey, Rog, once that deal gets signed, are you going to look for opportunities to get short the broader averages? Oh, gosh, yes, gang. We have a double red downtrend. This is a quick, what I think, bull trap. It is going to move higher, maybe for a day or two on, first of all, yesterday's announcement of unlimited QE, today's announcement of whatever that 1.3 complete stimulus bill is going to be, who we're going to bail out, how we're going to use the money. Helicopter money has yet to come, but it's on its way, right? And then whatever other good news we get, but this is a downtrend and these are corrections and I will short them. So for those of you that are wondering, Rog, is the low in? I don't believe so. But if we're going to be reaching another potential bouncing level, it's going to be probably very near on the NASDAQ, a -2 V-score reading, and on the S&P, that level, if we're going to find another bottom, it's going to be very close to, as you can see here, just below the 3, about a 3.5 V-score, -3.5 V-score reading. But on the way back up, gang, believe me, I do want to find opportunities to short, okay? And the more I watch one after the other of these hedge fund guys telling us how they've got, they've covered their short book and they're bullish, all I think is, you guys are so long still. Why on earth would you come on television? What, to help us? Because they care so much? They're in the charity business, right? Think about that for a moment. Why on earth would someone take time, a CEO of one of these different hedge funds, why would they take time to come and talk on CNBC unless they had an agenda? I don't blame them. I actually blame us, meaning the public, for being naive enough to think that these folks are giving us insight into their trades. Really? Think about that for a moment, okay? So do I think they're still long? Yep. Do I think they think we're going to see lower lows? I sure do. I sure do. So if we can rally up higher, I will be looking for an opportunity to short from higher. And remember, when did we go full on bearish? We went full on bearish the very moment that the FOMC cut 50 basis points. As I call it, it's the day the Fed flinched. Okay, I'm not talking about the emergency rate cut that they did to basically what amounts to nearly zero. It's not actually zero, but nearly zero. But it's that first 50 basis point cut that they did. That is the day that I sent out the alert to everybody and said, look, we are no longer looking for oversold buys. We are full on going to go bearish. That was the day. Okay. All right. So any bounces here, I will short. ES, NQ, YM, absolutely. All right. So then comes copper, which is bouncing with this, by the way. Copper is bouncing with the broader averages. I'd like to be short copper again. We talked about gold. Gold ripped higher. Now, for those of you that are wondering, Rog, are you still open to possibly shorting gold? I mean, you were looking for gold to maybe give us a small candle and then go down and stall out in this area. Well, what did it do? It ripped higher. Am I still looking for a small candle and for it to go down? Yeah, I will also say if we get to 1700, I will buy some GLD puts. Right? I'll buy some puts in GLD. But I'll tell you what, gang, I'm much more interested in the buy. So the put play is just a really near-term play to the downside that I am somewhat optimistically looking for, because it's that move to the downside that's going to set up our next buy. We are going to remain bullish on gold. I think the main reason gold got just punched right here hard is because gold had to be liquidated as the market was dealing with all those limit down moves. Okay. I don't think people are liquidating gold because they don't want to be long. They were liquidating gold because they were long a lot of stocks, and then margin calls required that they liquidate gold to meet their capital requirements. Okay. So that's gold. I'm still bullish, but not from the highs. All right. What else do we have here on this morning's setups? We talked about the GDX. GDX was interesting. One of the members said, Rog, I know you said stay away from the miners, and I totally agree. You want to stay away from the miners. But the thing to remember is that ultimately you have to remember that GDX is a downtrend. So I loved the question because the question basically said, can we take advantage of the rip higher in gold, carrying GDX or even GDX higher, and buy puts? Yeah, I don't want to be long GDX, but the idea of taking advantage of GDX on a rally like this, I thought that was a great question that understands that we don't want to be long GDX, but we may not mind being short. Okay, so that's something to keep an eye on. I thought that was a terrific question. I thought I would share that here in the room. At any time, by the way, pause the video. You'll see all the different levels we talked about throughout the day. Beans are another market that I'd like to be short in on this rally. I'll talk more about the ad trade, which for me is not only beans, which in this area, by the way, let me show you here. This is what we want to do with beans. You'll see right in here. Now, the idea behind beans is that we are going to see the market continue lower. So you can see this set up right in here, and that's going to set up pretty nicely with what we're looking at through here. And that's the beans play. Now, when I talk about ags, the other markets, and we've done this before, this was an alert some time back, where we shorted beans, we shorted cattle, live cattle actually. Now, this is feeder cattle, which you can probably do the same thing, but live cattle had a better structure at the time. So there's feeder and live, and then also hogs, what's known as the lean hogs. For those of you wondering, do I want to short hogs? I do. The trend is down. This is now more like an overbought. And you can see this is really actually pretty good. Even though, see, a lot of traders are going to say, oh, but wait a minute. We can buy this now. Remember, we have a double red market, which means even if we are able to move higher through resistance, we still look for then overbought shorts. And then look at how many times we've been rejected. Look at this. How many times have we been rejected at this level right there, the -1 V-score? A lot. A lot. So we definitely want to look for the opportunity to get short because of that, right? Respect the trend that was. This is an overbought. Yes, it broke the trend, but we say even when the trend is broken, a downtrend broken is not an uptrend. A downtrend broken is chop with a bias that respects how we got here. So a downtrend broken is just an overbought, oversold market with an emphasis on how do I short into resistance, aka overbought. So that's lean hogs. That's the ad trade. And then we had a couple currency plays we were interested in this morning. One was the pound yen. Looking at the 15-minute chart from 130.10, which actually we did not pull back to enough. A few folks might have gotten a little aggressively long there. The one that did pull back into the zone was the pound versus the US. And this one did trigger the entry. This one triggered the entry, as you can see here. Also 15-minute time frame, 1710, 1705. Boom, right in there, and moved up very nicely hard. Each one of these can be Forex trades. Pound yen has to be. Pound US can also be 6B or FXB. So that's what we talked about this morning. I wanted to give you a quick sort of summary of that. For those of you that missed the 2-hour chat, we can summarize this in about 15 minutes. Hope that helps. Something to refer back to. And, I'll be in the room again tomorrow looking at trades. So if you have the time between 9:20 and about 11:15, come join me. In fact, if you can't join until about 10, that's usually fine. All right? So if you're with me for about 10 to 11 o'clock, you'll get the bulk of what I'm doing. All right? Hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next update.